Hello everybody, my name is Ariel Brindis and today I'm going to talk about the 15 copic color markers that I would recommend for architecture sketching and interior design sketching. This selection of colors is based on my experience on sketching architecture and design for more than 20 years. I found these colors to be the most used colors in many of my sketches. That's why I would recommend, if you have a tight budget or you are starting to sketching and you don't want to buy, or you can't afford to buy many markers, I would recommend these 15 colors to beginners or as a kit starter. Let's begin with it. The very first thing I would recommend is a shade of markers, gray markers. In this case, warm gray markers works wonderful for interior and architectural sketches. Of course, you need to have warm gray 1, which is the lightest gray, and then there are 10 colors, 10 base colors of gray. There are several kind of grays, cool grays, warm grays, neutral grays, toner grays, but warm grays are basic to architectural sketching. This is good for depicting white objects, for stones, for walls, for ceilings. And in fact, if you work with Copic, I would recommend to buy as well the ink refills, because at least of these colors, because you will be using these colors a lot, so you will notice that some of the colors get dried after a lot of work, after a lot of sketches, so you need to recharge the marker often. So it's better to buy an ink refill than buy a new one. It's cheaper. And of course, if you use one color or one shade, let's say you use number 1, warm gray, then you can add another layer of the same gray and you get warm gray number 2. The same thing happens with warm gray number 3. You add another layer over it and you got warm gray 4. That's why you don't need 10 grays, you only need 5 grays. You have to wait until the marker gets dry on the paper and then apply a new layer over it. So in this case, value is built on the layering of the same marker. Now you need some other colors that are Copic calls earth colors. Earth colors are very necessary for depicting wood, some stones, some marbles. And I would start with E43. E43 is a very nice earthy color, very neutral. It's kind of a sand color. And then we have E54. E54 is in the same, let's say, the same shade, a darker value, but it's the same saturation. E15, it's very good for, let's say, brick or some tiling, some ceiling. So it's a redwood. Actually, it's called dark suntan. And then we have E55 and E57. That is very good for wood. It's a bit more saturated than the E43. It has more yellow on it, and the darker value is E57. There is a darker value of this, which is E59, but you don't need that because you can combine gray, warm grays with all these colors, and you will have some shadows. Again, you can lay down a second layer of marker and get a darker value of it. Okay, so the next colors are good for sketching other materials like glass, some stones as well. And let's start with a blue, which is B52. It's a very, very light blue. It's a very nice blue. Then B95 is a bit darker and a bit more, it has a little bit more magenta on it, so it's more bluish, and this is more greenish. Then we have the darker value of these blues, which is B97. B97 is really dark. You will need that for glass, especially if you're depicting glass from a facade. This is a very nice color. And then you need, well, I think you need at least two green colors for vegetation, which is one very, very bright color, bright green, YG25, and then another darker green and less saturated, which is YG67. Again, don't think of using these colors alone, but always combine them. So if you combine both of these colors and also with blue, you will get some shadows for greenery. And if you combine those grays with those earthy tones, you will get some shadows on the earthy tones. Let's make an example of it. let's start with the color work, and I always start with the lightest color, or the lightest value, which is in this case this is warm gray number 1. And let's assume that this wall, this part will be white. So even if it's white, there is a bit of shadow, and there is a gradation as well as in the ceiling. We have a gradation. I don't know if it's, and let's assume this is sand. This wall, the right wall, is in sand color. As well. This is a very rough sketch. A sketch has to be alive, has to have a lot of expression. So let's assume that this is gray. This is number 5, gray number 5. I want middle gray to dark gray to create contrast between the light wall and the wood paneling. In this case, this is a wood paneling, I assume. But this is a wood paneling painted in gray. Medium tone gray, not really dark, not really light. Then we have to differentiate different surfaces, light surfaces, where the light hits in different direction. So in this case, I'm using gray number 7, and I'm coming back with gray number 5 to create gradation. And then we can have here some strokes of number 3, gray number 3, and then let's work this area, which is going to be a wooded flooring. And I am going to do this area in the same color as a wood paneling, in a more natural wood color. Always the direction of the stroke in wood is the direction of the grain of the wood. Then come back with the same marker and differentiate the shaded area from the light, because light is coming from the window. So you can create a very dramatic light scene. And then come, okay, again here I'm gonna use the same E55. And then I'm gonna use E57, which is the darker value of the same shade. And again, I'm going to make darker the shades to create a more dramatic light effect coming from the window. You can come back as many times as you want with the same color, and you will build up the value. You will get a darker value without the need of a different marker. Let's work a little bit what is on the behind the curtains. I will use warm gray number 3. To make this area shaded, some shade over here. And I will use even warm gray number 5 and even number 7, a little bit, just a little bit. I like the stroke of the marker. The marker is a very expressive medium for sketching, so don't be afraid of the marker stroke. The marker stroke is the main characteristic of the media, and it's really nice. Always always refer to where the light is coming. For shadows, I will use this. Then I will use, this is a very bright color, a very bright green. So I will make a bit dull this green using my second green, and this is going to be, against the light, this foliage. So I will use a blue one. In this case it's going to be B95, and as you can see, color is becoming dull, not that bright. We don't want a cartoonish effect. We want more a more natural effect, and of course because the foliage and the tree is against the light, we will see those dark shadows. I will use as well some gray. Let's start with number 5. Warm gray is really good for warm colors, all earthy colors, some red ones, some green ones. I want really a good contrast, a high contrast. On this window, and I will use the principles of environmental perspective, which says that the farther the things are, the duller the color is. It's more grayish. And I will use B52 just to go through all my windows, but not covering, just leave some white areas. This is important, to leave some white areas, and come back with my B95 and with the darker blue, which is B97, just to create those reflections and a bit of tint on the glass. If you want to create a three-dimension effect, contrast is very important. The contrast will give you a very good three-dimensional effect on things. Contrast comes from the light. And that will depict very good the three-dimensional effect. Let's make as well the effect of light coming from the window on the wall. For this art, use the same colors, repeat colors. This is also a very good technique to create a good composition. Just something very, very abstract. It's not. There's nothing here really. I wouldn't do something that distracts too much from the eye, but rather it blends with the environment. And I think that's it. Of course, you can always use a black liner to give way to the lines, to some line work. In this case, this is a paper-made flare, medium. It's really nice to give more weight, and it's a black heavy line. Nice. If you want to give more weight to some of the lines. It's getting dry. This one is getting dry. It's working really well. But you can see here the edges away from the light can have a heavier line. Also, this will help to create a three-dimension effect. Maybe some edges here, like here and here, away from light. And also I use a white marker to give highlights. So I always give a highlight here. In this case I'm using a very fine marker, jelly roll pen, white jelly roll pen, and some reflections on the glass. This will help you depict there is a glass over here, and use this only on some edges. And I guess that's it. You can also use a Prismacolor pencil or a black or a gray pencil, just to give more contrast. And what is nice of the pencil, it creates some textures, and you can go just on some parts of the sketch. I guess that's it. Don't forget to sign. So I hope this video will help you choose the colors if you're a beginner, and will help you make a good selection, and don't spend too much on markers if you are a beginner. Thanks for watching, thanks for your support, and see you in the next video.